Hello, guys. It's Shane Davis here with Yanzi Lin, the great maker of the sandwich that I've
Hi.
never gotten. This sandwich. And here today, we're here to talk about, guys, get ready for it, the Sandman's death. Okay, so Twitter has been ablaze about the casting the Sandman. Now, at first, everybody was like, oh, ho, ho, it's all about the pronouns, which is interesting enough because one of the characters, Desire, their pronouns were out there. And as far as I remember, when I read the Sandman, Desire, you couldn't really tell if it was a guy, a girl, whatever. It's kind of a non-issue. But then came the second issue, and this was a casting choice for the character Death. There's a lot of spicy opinions on the Twitters about this, and we're not really going to dig deep into that. We're just going to throw you some facts, some little knowledge here that maybe you don't know about the character Death. So
what happened with Twitter is that when they announced the casting for Sandman, which apparently we understand that there's been many attempts to do it in the past.
Right.
But finally now it's going forward with Netflix of all places. And some Sandman fans took issue with Gaiman for casting Howell-baptiste, a black actress, in a role that is visually depicted as a white character in the source material. One fan noted on Twitter that Howell-baptiste casting was irksome because Gaiman doesn't give a beep about standing by his original work.
If you're coming across this video, Death is probably the most popular character in the Sandman, if not the second most popular character, followed by the main character, which is the Sandman himself, and then followed by probably maybe the Corinthian, some Lucifer, some other characters in the book. So you have to first understand this isn't just a character in the book. This character has had her own spin-offs in her own books out of the Sandman, because she's that popular. Now, she is a bubbly goth chick. That is Death. And her whole thing is you get the same as everybody else gets, whether it's 90 years or one day, you get a lifetime. And that's kind of the gag with this character is she's very sunny and positive, but super goth, wears an ankh, eye makeup, all of this. That kind of explains why people are a little upset with this casting.
So Gaiman has this to say: I gave all the beeps about the work. I spent 30 years successfully battling bad movies of Sandman. I give zero peeps about people who don't understand / haven't read Sandman, whining about a non-binary desire or that death isn't white enough. Watch the show, make up your minds. Gaiman, see, the issue is not that death isn't white enough. You cast a woman, play this character here, who is most well known as being this pale-skinned goth chick with a very nice contrast happening, isn't it? She's all fair skinned, but the rest of her hair, her outfit, her accessories, everything else is just black.
So you have to understand there's this character, even though this is their color of their skin and they're walking around, there's obviously a very design mechanism here that there's a continuity and a design recognition here built. And if you took a character, and I know I'm talking as a designer of comic characters, I've designed tons of characters at DC Comics. This is going to be weird, but what if Dexter one day was a dog instead of a cat? You know, like would people be upset with that? And this is the thing you have to understand. People have spent money. They have spent time. Sometimes time is more valuable than money for readers reading these books and probably buying giant collections of it. Sandman's been a hit, been out for years, multiple reprintings. A lot of people love the series. So to take a character who has a specific design and kind of throw that out the door when you're casting is problematic. Now, there's a little bit more to this, correct, Yanzi?
Yeah, but before we go any further, let me just explain though. We are not actually against the skin color of the actress. Honestly, at this point, we just want her to be depicted in the form whereby she's most well known to fans. Now, let's be clear. Death in the comics appears in many, many forms. She has appeared as Chinese. She has appeared as African American. She has even appeared as other species besides humans. The point is that she appears as whomever that is dying sees her to be. But this is literally the most iconic version of Death you ever see. Here is the explanation from Neil Gaiman himself explaining how they even came about with the design for Death. Death is the only major character whose visual didn't spring from me. That credit goes to Mike Dringenberg, co-writer on the series. In my original Sandman outline, I suggested Death look like rock star Nicole in 1968, with the perfect cheekbones and perfect face she has on the cover of her Chelsea Girl album. But Mike Dringenberg had his own ideas. So he sent me a drawing based on a woman he knew named Cinnamon Hadley. The drawing was later printed in Sandman 11. I had the immediate reaction of, wow, that's really cool. Later that day, Dave McKean and I went to dinner in Chelsea at the My Old Dutch Pancake House, and the waitress who served us was kind of a vision. She was American, had long black hair, was dressed entirely in black jeans, t-shirts, etc., and wore a big silver ankh on a silver necklace. And she looked exactly like Mike Dringenberg's drawing of death. So you can see, Neil Gaiman apparently never had a real idea of how death wanted to look. But Mike Dringenberg came up with this idea of it, and suddenly was, ooh, snap, that is death. Now, Cinnamon Hadley, there's this whole argument later on with Neil Gaiman, arguing saying that, he never knew her personally. But the funny thing is that he also raised money for her when she was diagnosed with cancer and stuff. And I just feel it's very sad that 3 years after her passing, this woman, this inspiration for one of the most iconic characters outside of superhero comics, is just suddenly replaced, I guess.
Right. And this is a slippery slope that Neil's stepping into, because as a creator, there are sometimes not just the writer is not a creator. This is like something I come across a lot on YouTube comic sites, people that talk about comics. A lot of people, especially YouTubers, they tend to think that only the guy who wrote the character is the creator, and that's not true. The first person that drew that character, design, whatever, they're the co-creator. Okay, you as a writer, you just didn't write, I want the character death, and it bam. Because when you go Google this, what do you see? You see a bunch of images of this character. Who designed this character? Is it based off this person, whatnot? But still, you are a co-creator, Neil Gaiman. So the issue is, just because you're okay with it doesn't mean it's 100%. There is a co-creator of this.
So I just think it's a bit sad that you end up having this beautiful golf fashion designer who is the inspiration for millions of cosplayers out there. And suddenly you say, oh, by the way, that doesn't matter. All these depictions of death, no, it's out of the window. We're just going to cast one character who doesn't quite match this image that we have been waving at people for, 30 years, I guess?
Right, and it's a bit of a branding issue, too. You have to understand, she was one of the more merchandisable, iconic characters in the Sandman. I feel like she's the first, that she was the most merchandisable, and then he's probably the second. How this affects fans of the show, I don't know. It's too soon to say. I'm sure we'll see a trailer. This will come up again. I actually don't think this conversation's going away anytime soon. I don't know how far it's going to carry into the show. We see this happen with, turning Jimmy Olsen a different skin tone, and the Superman animation that they're doing that we did a video on. Go check it out. This is something that's just going to happen. It's going to happen a lot more and more. Does it matter when it's Jimmy Olsen? Not so much when it's the most popular or second most popular character in the series. Probably a lot. So some would argue she's a supporting character, but she's too popular just to be considered a supporting character in the series. With that said, guys, Starlight Cat's Merlion Rising, want to give a shout out to this here campaign, Little Girl Big Adventures Cats in Space. We are 9 backers away from 1,500 backers on our first Indiegogo campaign. Go back this here campaign. It will be coming down fairly soon as I'm wrapping up the last bit of pages, and I'm already started on the cover to Project Rex. Finished the pencils today, finishing up some inking on it. So people will get to see Project Rex pretty soon. Plus, you will get the first printing of Project Rex as a postcard in this here book if you go back it today. So you want to be there. You want to be there on the ground level of the next great comic IP coming down the pipeline. Also, if you will, subscribe to the channel, share the video, leave us a comment. Helps us out tremendously. We love to see what you guys have to say about these subjects, and we will catch you guys again with another video.